Hey there, folks. We got somebody back on the channel. I think's been MIA for like 8 weeks or so. He's been gone. I've been gone. He's been gone.
Right.
The one and only Mr. Stephen Dow from Velocity Mortgage. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. I'm feeling really good now that I'm back. So
Do me a favor, get that marketing thing out of the way so we both don't get in trouble.
I thought you were gonna possibly forget because it's been so long. But again, although I work very happily for Velocity Mortgage Capital, all the ideas and topics discussed on this channel are that of my own. So let's get it going.
One of the things I want to talk about with the non-QM space, which is obviously where Velocity plays, I'm seeing is, again, this is my opinion, not
Hmm.
yours. And if you disagree, please do. But I saw
Hmm.
the non-QM space get very tight and nervous kind of Q4 of last year, maybe late Q3. I've
Right.
started to see over the last 30 days or so a clear loosening, a clear willingness to do some exceptions. The rate is still the rate, but there
Right.
was a while, in my opinion, where non-QM was much like Fannie and Freddie, right? Either you fit the box or you didn't.
Right.
And I think non-QM is coming back, at least generally speaking, as a make sense lender. They're willing to do some exceptions where they weren't seemingly 3 or 4 months ago. Am I misguided or wrong in that, or what are you seeing?
Well, I mean, for me specifically, correct. I have heard the same for many other lenders in our space. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure as well as many other lenders, people got real nervous in Q4 of last year. Um, Things have kind of, stabilized a little bit better. At least again for us as a company, we're back to kind of where we were, uh, pre or Q4 of last year, as far as being again more flexible
Yeah.
with looking at compensating factors to offset maybe certain deficiencies in either say FICO score, experience level, um, debt service ratio, things of that nature.
Right.
To where before we would be more sticklers on like more true guideline, terms, but things have loosened up quite a bit, and so yeah, we're really making a lot more deals happen here. But pricing is the pricing. We can buy down the rate. We do have other options as far as interest only, things of that nature. So if certain scenarios, specifically with seller crediting towards buyers closing costs, doing the 50/40/10 or any kind of combination of that sort, I've been able to structure, with creative financing with to kind of make things make sense and
Yeah.
and to allow certain scenarios to cash flow.
Yeah, I think this is an important thing because I keep reminding people, most new investors think there's a real estate market, which there clearly is, buy box, daily
Right.
discipline, all that stuff. But there's a lending market that almost nobody looks at. So again, the fact that non-QM lenders are loosening up their guidelines or their willingness to take exceptions, generally speaking, there's also the fact that Fannie and Freddie, the agencies, are clearly incentivizing home ownership, right? They're lowering costs, they're lowering PMI, but they're raising the money somewhere else, and they're slamming investors with extra fees, which
Right.
again, I totally get. But I think it's one of the reasons that non-QM is starting to loosen up because I think they see demand increasing because agency doesn't want that business anymore, or seemingly doesn't want that business.
Right. Well,
So
they
it's nice
they
to see.
they agreed. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Mike. They won't say it,
Of
outwardly,
course
but
not.
they'll do it in like, they'll tighten up this guideline, or there's this extra overlay, so the pricing is
Yeah.
much higher for this. So it discourages you from doing the type of financing, but they won't say we don't want it.
Yeah, one of the things that I think every real estate investor should do is they should work with a non-QM lender just to at least get quotes and see what's possible.
Right.
Having gone through Velocity multiple times, right? You've helped me multiple times years ago.
Right.
Um,
Right.
the process is streamlined. It's just the ease of doing business. Was the rate a little higher? Sure, but only a little.
Right.
And now
I
I
know.
can only
I,
imagine. Yeah, yeah,
Right. Well, I was gonna say I was gonna relive the good old days because I saw in one of your videos with the three amigos how you were talking about you'd locked in long-term money
yeah,
for one of your multifamilies. You had something in the fours, and I was gonna make a
yeah.
comment. You're welcome.
Well, we were telling people to do it, so that much
No,
I
I
feel
know
good
for the
about, right?
longest, for like a good quarter, at least 3 months in a row, and it finally started to get some traction for like 2.5 months because people were like, really, 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 and yeah, we kept saying 3.99,
Yeah.
3.99. I shouldn't even say that anymore, but
Yeah, it was possible at one moment in time. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's
But
like
the other thing I
PTSD.
want people to realize is non-QM and specifically Velocity Mortgage, there may be others, but I only know Velocity here. You do 30-year money on apartments.
Yep. Yep.
I
So
still, I say that I get interviewed all the time, and I talk about what we did and the fact I don't like variable and the fact I see commercial pain coming, and I go,
yeah,
hey, we took our apartments and got 30-year debt on. People are like, what'd
yeah.
you do?
What?
How'd you do
Yeah.
that? I'm like, well,
Right.
there's this non-QM lender, Velocity, who I put multiple deals through, and it's like, dude, guys, pay attention. I hate risk. Variable
Right.
rates are risk. ARMs are risk,
Right.
and you still can get 30-year money on apartments. You just need to
You
work
can.
with the right provider.
Correct, correct. I mean, there's the options, as far as where rates are. I mean, they're higher than where they were when you and I had
Of
first
course.
started doing business, obviously.
Dude, the
But
federal government is borrowing higher than what I borrowed at. Come on.
that's true. That's what you had talked about. That's right. The government was like
That's
at
funny.
six or so, and yeah,
Yeah.
you're like three, four. So,
Yeah, that's funny.
um, but yeah, with that being said, there's still some options. Potentially just depends on the numbers and the circumstances. But at least at this stage, we do have long-term 30-year fixed money on apartments, 30-year amortized. You can add an interest-only payment option to it for the first 10 years. Certain smaller markets were very effective in the sense of no debt service ratio required on loan amounts below 500,000
You're
on
still doing
multifamily as well.
portfolio and blanket
Still doing
loans?
portfolio. Just talked to somebody today that was like very, happy because they're potentially working on a 67 unit, portfolio. We discussed how to, how to attack that kind of pile. We can, but there's some certain restrictions and the process to
Yeah.
that. But yeah, other than that, we're still here, doing very well. Actually, actual resurgence. We did lower our rates, believe it or not,
Yeah.
since the last time we talked because it's been so long since
Right.
last year. From the last time I talked to you, quote unquote, last
Yeah.
year, which was about 2 months ago or so,
Yeah.
technically
Two and a half
two and a half
months.
months
Yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've actually dropped our rates.
That's great.
Yeah, so from that standpoint, nothing more than other than that. I mean, still doing the same thing. Wish we could talk about some other more exciting stuff other than we're actually funding loans. I do
Yeah.
know from the last time we talked, there was some lenders kind of tightening up.
Yep.
I don't recall. I think so. Just before you left, we had just kind of scratched the surface with this one lender that wasn't taking any more loans until
Yeah. They
the
stopped.
beginning
They
of
paused for 90 days. Yeah.
right, right. So I heard that they laid off people about a week and a half ago, about 200 people. Um, a lot of operations. Obviously, if you're not taking any more loans until the second quarter, you can imagine there's
Yeah.
not going to be much
Yeah.
production to work on.
Yeah. That,
So
that overhead gets pretty expensive. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So there was, that happened. But outside of that, trying to think what else would be impactful or relevant right now other
Yeah,
than
you know what?
30-year money.
I think at the end of the day, non-QM space is going to become more relevant. I think Wall Street is actually going to move towards non-QM because Freddie and Fannie or the agencies are going to own owner OC. They're
Right,
clearly penalizing investors with fees and costs. So I think
right.
non-QM is the space. If you are a real estate investor, you're doing the work, you're looking for deals, I suggest adding to your Rolodex a non-QM lender. I've used Velocity in the past. So, Stephen, how would they reach out to you?
Again, just email me is probably the best. SDAO@velocitymortgage.com. In the subject line, please put the acronym ORAAT, so it passes the firewall. By the email, maybe a brief description what you're looking for. Address would be great, or at the very least, city and state to make sure we lend there. Your mid FICO score, best phone number to reach you at, and typically 24, 48 hours, I'll be in touch.
Awesome. Thank you so much.